and welcome to Mickey Art. My name's Michelle Edhouse, and I thought the last video was going to be me finishing off these paints, but there's still more paint in there, so I'm gonna use it up. And I managed to find another blank cup in my cupboard, surprisingly enough. So what am I doing? For those of you that are new to my channel and haven't come across me before, I am an acrylic pourer by trade. Artist by trade, obviously, but my videos are normally acrylic pouring. And one time I came across this Pabo Porcelain 150, and it is a paint that works on porcelain, or pottery is another way of wording it, and you apply it, you leave it to dry for 24 hours, and then you bake it. Here, where's my box gone? I had a box, there it is, found it. So here is the instructions. English, French, Espanol, bug time, Italiano, Deutsch, and the Netherlands, I think, maybe. So this is it, Porcelain 150, and I've had lots of fun with these paints. They are really, really cool. So what I'm going to do after I've finished preparing this is try and use up the last of this paint, and just going to give it a bit of a, hopefully break the surface of the original. Doesn't say you have to do this, but I have had it start to peel after about 6 months of daily dishwashing, because once it's baked, it's dishwasher safe, and it's great. I love it. But I'm trying out the sanding process to see if it just makes it stick just that little bit more, and wipe it back down again with the 97% alcohol, just to get all that dust off, any sticky fingerprints, anything left from that the dishwasher didn't get off. Okay, and then I've got, this is my detachable base on my Lazy Susan. I've got two Lazy Susans. This one doesn't come apart, this one comes apart, and so I've just popped some blue tack on there. Blue tack, poster putty, one of my favourite things. And then I'm going to pop it on there, and then we've got a rotating mug holder. Alright, so that's that prepared. Don't worry, I will bring you down so you can watch the fun. But first, we need to prep our pouring. So this is a gravy separator jug, and it's great because the paint comes from the bottom and it doesn't have to run all the way to the top. It's just the lip allows me to get right up close. It's really awesome. Now, what have we got here? In this bottle we have some leftover paint from a couple of, I did a set of 4 mugs. And what ran off the bottom, I put all into this one pot. So it's kind of basically purple. I've had these all lying on their sides for about a week since my last video. So we're pretty much getting out the dregs. There's some blue. This blue is lapis, which is my favorite. And there's only silicone, I think, in that purpley red container lot. And I'm going to leave the rest of the lapis just because I've had a lot of you complaining that I haven't been doing the handles. Dum-de-doo. So the handles are not easy to pour, but somebody suggested, why don't you just brush the leftover paint onto the handle. So that's what I'm going to do. Have we actually got any of this? This one is opaline pink. And I'm just using them straight from the pots. They don't need to be watered down. Because you're pouring on a 3D surface, they really don't need to be thinned any more than they already are. Otherwise it'd just all run off. It'd be gross. It'd be such a waste of paint. And this one is pewter. Come on, out you come. Now that one is quite thick. And it leaves it looking quite a matte finish. Okay. So, like I did in the last one, I'm going to paint the side of the cup first. Just to get some amount of liquid, because if you've done any acrylic pouring, you'll know that the resistance caused by the friction of whatever you're pouring on creates this is fun. Stops the paint from flowing as easily. So what I like to do is just spread some paint down the sides. I've gone and put lots of little bits of stuff off the dried cakey stuff off the edges. Now that wasn't my intention at all, but it just gives us that paint something to run down over. Okay. Now I try and keep the paint on the outside, and the reason for that is, although it's a non-toxic paint, they do not recommend putting it where the food is going to be. And the reason for that is, if you're stirring with a spoon or cutting with a knife or whatever you're doing on the paint, or on the crockery, the paint can get cut and germs can get in underneath, and we don't want to be growing germies, do we? We want to be healthy, happy people. Right, so now we've got that stuck back down on there, I'm going to change the camera angle for you and we will see what magic we can create. Alright, so here we are, ready to pour. So, not sure if this is the best mug holder I've ever done, but let's give this a go. And I'll try and turn it towards you so that you get to see it as it runs down. And this is where having the Lazy Susan really comes in handy. I'm not expecting huge shells on this because it's got very little silicone in it, and what silicone is there is well mixed in. So I'm going to go around twice and then pause to make sure it's actually covering the whole mug. Okay, so prop that up there so that it doesn't, all the paint doesn't run back. And as you can see, we've got places where the paint is not running down. So I'm just going to bring some of the paint that is running down back up. Say, hey, oi, what about this part? Now the pewter does seem to take over quite considerably. Just like with any other paints, you do need to choose your colours carefully, otherwise you can end up with an invasion. Okay. There's definitely a line where the paint has got to. But it's a fairly even line, so I'm quite happy about that. And when this paint decides to come down the spout again, we will go around again. Now this paint dries really quickly, okay. Give it half an hour and you don't want to be touching it, because you'll mess up your smoothness. Now, this patch here is concerning me. I'm not getting the rundown that I want. Kind of hard to get your finger down inside that. Bit where the inside the handle. And I'm not thinking that I've got enough of a height lift. For it to drip properly. I'm actually gonna give it some more height. It's one of the lids of the, there we go. I'm happy with that now. It's got further to drip. It was starting to actually pool at the bottom of the cup, and that would then create where you would have not a pretty result. Now when I did the set of 4 mugs, everyone was going, why didn't you do the handles? Why didn't you do the handles? And this is why I didn't do the handles. This paint does dry so quickly, and it's a fiddly job to do the handles. If I'd done them one at a time, each with their own little pot of paint, then yep, we may have had a good result. But I wouldn't have been able to move them around because I would have had the handle painted. I wouldn't have been able to pick it up by the handle. It's quite a... Alright, let's run some down the handle. Now I must warn you, this paint is not cheap, and since you don't actually mix it with anything, it's definitely not cheap. Because at full price here in New Zealand, one of these 40ml pots, 45ml, 40ml, is $12. Some of them you can find on sale, but not all of them. Ech, 3D is not easy. Alright, I'm good with that. I'm actually really liking, I wonder if you guys can see that. Probably not. Eek! Where is the camera on this phone? almost really actually looks like lapis. I'm tempted to not actually put the torch on it, except for that. What's that? Is that a bubble? Ah! What did I do that for? Eek! Look at that! I just ruined my line. Oh, we've got a cell showing up down here. Can you see that? It was so focused down there. Let's pull you back a little bit. Look, there's a cell. Yeah, we've got cells forming on their own. I don't need to put the torch on it. Alright, how much paint have we got left in the pot? Should I go around one more time? Look how much paint there is. There's definitely enough to put a little interesting I'm really annoyed at myself for doing that now. Okay, this is just going to be a very small bead of paint that goes around this time. Here it comes. Very slowly. If you're going to torch it, if you're going to put silicone in it and torch it, make sure the majority of the movement has stopped before you torch it. And what's left, I'm just going to create a dribble. On the handle. And let that run. Let's bring it back a little bit. Okay. So you can see how this is still moving. Alright. Whereas the stuff down further has stopped moving so much. I always recommend that you go around and scrape off the drips off the bottom. And then you can see how fast more drips are forming. And that gives you a really good indication about how much more movement there is. And this is a good time if you've got anything sitting up on the lip. Let me bring you. If you had stuff coming over like this bit here, you might want to get in there with a damp tissue, clean it up. Because although you can scrape it off in the first 24 hours, you really don't want to break that seal that it creates when it dries. Look at a mess I'm making. Right, now I'm going to torch it. I am going to torch it just because I can see air bubbles. Alright, so we've got some silicone cells come up, but only tiny little ones, and that's totally fine by me. And that is a lump. It is not an air bubble. That's gonna be pretty. And I do highly recommend doing those bottom skims just so that you don't have big drips of paint where your cup's going to be sitting. Somebody asked me if I've ever done it up the other way. Yes, I have. I actually have a whole playlist of this paint. You can go and have a look. All the different options I've done. I'm really loving that. That is gonna be cool. And I'm not gonna sit and dip today. I'm due out actually, so I'm gonna leave this to dry, and I will be back once it's dry to show you the end result. Okay, dokie, daddly do. Check it out. I like it. It is enough to the purple end of the spectrum to not look pink. It's got interest, but not being without being garish. I like it. Even where I poured that extra bit on the top to clean up my mess, has blended in and looks, it's actually right where you're gonna lick, and it's just gonna look like you've dribbled down your cup and like, oh no. But I really like it. I do, diddly do. Yeah, but there's a bit pink, and I've kind of missed up under there. But except when it's upside down, nobody's going to see that. Like, nope. So that's going to be our little secret. Okay. And you can come back in here and just scrape bits off if you need to before you fire it. Many of you have asked me in comments, how do you fire? I actually, if you go to my dishwasher proof pours playlist, the very first one, I actually take you through me firing it in the oven. You don't fire it, it's in a kitchen oven, it's baked 150 degrees C or 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 35 minutes. Do it when you can have the windows open. It does smell a little bit, but it's totally fine. It's not a big problem. Alright, so I love this. It looks funky, funky donkey. I'm sure you could find all sorts of amazing things in this if you sat and stared at it. If you're drinking something stronger than coffee, you might start seeing them move even. Oh, that one looks like a mummy with a bubba on their shoulder. Oh, they're so cute. Anyway, so there we have the mug. Let's have a look at the pendant that we got out of the day old drip off, which I'm very excited I did because look at it. It's so frigging pretty. Oh my goodness. It's so pretty. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Alright guys, so that's my addiction to paint satiated for another microsecond. I am this video, you're seeing this today, and later on today we'll be going live because Friday New Zealand time, Thursday everywhere else probably except Australia. We will be live, and I'm not telling you when. If you have already signed up, you would have got an email earlier today telling you when. If you haven't signed up, you're just going to have to make sure you've got that bell notification happening. And hint, it's in the evening for America. So Thursday evening for America, middle of the night for Europe. So I look forward to having you guys come and play with me live tomorrow. I adore playing with you live. I have no idea what we're going to be painting, but that's because you guys usually tell me what to paint. I suppose I better make sure I've got things for you to tell me to paint on. But until then, I will see you tomorrow, mañana. Au revoir. Bye-bye.